Diddy's mother, the hidden story behind his rise. For years, Sean "Diddy" Combs has been one of the most powerful names in hip-hop. But as the controversy surrounding him continues, a different question has started to attract attention. How much did his upbringing, and especially his mother, Janice Combs, shape the man he eventually became? 50 Cent's documentary project has brought renewed attention to Diddy's childhood, his family, and the people who were around him long before Bad Boy Entertainment became a global empire. And now, some of the most controversial stories surrounding Janice Combs are being discussed again. But there is an important distinction to make from the beginning. Many of these claims come from interviews, documentaries, former associates, and allegations. They should not automatically be treated as proven facts. Diddy's childhood was far from ordinary. His father, Melvin Combs, was killed when Diddy was still very young. After his death, Janice became the central figure in the household and focused heavily on raising her son. Former childhood friends have described a home where music, entertainment, parties, and influential people were frequently present. One former friend, Tim Patterson, has spoken about performances taking place inside the home, describing an environment where Diddy was exposed to attention, entertainment, and powerful personalities at a young age. That environment may have taught him something that would later become central to his career: how to control a room, how to attract attention, and how to build relationships with influential people. Those skills would eventually become a major part of Diddy's rise in the music industry. But the stories about Janice go much further. Some former associates have made serious allegations about the parties and social environment surrounding the family. Other claims have suggested that Janice was involved in activities connected to people in entertainment and nightlife. However, Janice Combs has disputed the negative portrayal of her family and has publicly objected to claims she believes misrepresent her and her son.
That matters because the story surrounding Diddy's mother is not simply a story of accusations. It is also a story about competing versions of the past. One version portrays Janice as a strong mother who worked hard to protect her son and help him succeed. Another version, promoted by some former associates and critics, portrays her as someone who had a much deeper influence on Diddy's lifestyle and business world than the public previously understood. So where does the truth actually begin? One of the biggest points of discussion is the unusually close relationship between Diddy and his mother. Former associates have commented on their closeness for years, while old interviews and public appearances have also drawn attention to how involved Janice remained in her son's life. But closeness alone does not prove wrongdoing. The more important question is whether the environment Diddy grew up in influenced the way he later lived and operated. And that is where the story becomes much more complicated. Diddy eventually became famous for enormous parties, celebrity gatherings, luxury, music, and an image built around power and excess. Some people who knew him earlier in life believe that these patterns did not appear overnight. They argue that Diddy learned from childhood how social environments could be controlled, how celebrities could be brought together, and how attention could be turned into influence. Whether that interpretation is correct is still a matter of debate. But there is another part of Diddy's early story that is far less speculative: the 1991 City College basketball tragedy. In December 1991, a celebrity charity basketball event connected to Diddy and Heavy D ended in disaster when a crowd rushed toward the venue. 9 people died and dozens more were injured. The tragedy became one of the darkest events connected to Diddy's early career. No criminal charges were filed against anyone for the stampede, but lawsuits followed, and questions about security and event organization continued for years. Former security associate Gene Deal has repeatedly argued that better security could have prevented the tragedy. According to his account, his security team had been prepared to work outside the venue, but was ultimately not used in the way he expected. Deal has said that celebrities arriving at the event attracted enormous attention, creating a dangerous situation when crowds moved toward the entrance. His conclusion has remained direct: he believes Diddy carried responsibility for what happened. But again, that is his account, not a court finding that Diddy caused the deaths. The tragedy is important because it also connects to another controversial discussion about Diddy's business structure. Some accounts have suggested that Diddy kept certain business interests or assets connected to his mother, potentially creating distance between himself and financial liability. That theory has been discussed in connection with the lawsuits that followed the 1991 tragedy. But it is important not to turn speculation into fact. The exact reasons behind particular corporate structures require documentary and legal evidence, not simply comments made years later. Meanwhile, the battle over Diddy documentaries has become a story of its own. 50 Cent has openly positioned himself as one of Diddy's biggest rivals, and his involvement in a documentary about Diddy immediately created controversy. Critics have questioned whether the project is designed to expose the truth or simply continue a long-running feud. 50 Cent has rejected the idea that the documentary is purely personal, arguing that the project gives people connected to the story an opportunity to speak. Diddy's legal team, meanwhile, has challenged the portrayal of him and has argued that certain allegations are misleading, exaggerated, or defamatory. There has also been controversy surrounding previously unseen footage. The filmmakers have said they obtained their footage legally and had the necessary rights to use it. Diddy's side has disputed the project and reportedly objected to the use and characterization of certain material. And now, the story appears to be expanding beyond Diddy himself. His family has also been connected to documentary projects that could present their own perspective. That creates something unusual. For perhaps the first time, the public is watching multiple sides of the same story compete for control of the narrative. One side says Diddy's story is about accountability. Another says it is about a man being judged through allegations and hostile portrayals. And somewhere in between is the story of Janice Combs. Was she simply a mother who worked tirelessly to help her son succeed? Was she more involved in his business and social world than the public realized? Or have years of accusations and speculation created a picture that goes beyond what the evidence can actually prove? Those questions remain open. What we do know is that Diddy's rise did not happen in isolation. Before the record deals, before Bad Boy, before the celebrity lifestyle, there was a young man growing up in Harlem after losing his father. And at the center of that childhood was his mother, Janice. She helped shape the environment in which he grew up. She supported his ambitions. And according to many accounts, she remained connected to his life long after he became one of the biggest names in entertainment. Whether that influence explains the person Diddy eventually became is something viewers will continue to debate. But as new documentaries, interviews, legal battles, and old footage continue to bring pieces of his past back into the spotlight, one thing is becoming clear. The story of Sean Diddy Combs cannot be completely understood by looking only at the superstar he became. To understand the empire, you have to look at the childhood. And to understand that childhood, you have to look at the woman who was there from the beginning. Janice Combs. Her story may not answer every question surrounding Diddy, but it could help explain where some of his earliest lessons about ambition, influence, image, and power came from. And that may be the part of the story the public is only beginning to understand.